This question is asking us to graph a system of inequalities. So inequalities, remember that means less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And when you graph these, you graph them almost identically to how you would graph them if they were equations, meaning if they had an equal sign. The main difference in graphing them, there's two things. If the symbol is greater than or less than, then you graph them using a dashed line. And if the symbol is greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, then you graph them using a solid line. And if you look at the answers that are given to you, you'll see some of the lines are solid and some of them are dashed. Okay, so when I look at the system here, the x greater than or equal to 5, I know that's going to be a solid line, and the y less than -3 is going to be a dashed line. Now, you really need to memorize what the graphs of these look like. And what I mean by that is the x greater than or equal to 5, when you have an equation or an inequality where it's just x equals something, or x greater than or less than, or whatever the inequality symbol is, this is a vertical line, meaning it goes straight up and down. This is a vertical line. The y is a horizontal line, meaning that it goes left to right. Horizontal. Okay, so the x greater than or equal to 5 is a vertical line, and it's a solid line, and it goes through 5 on the x-axis. So if I look at my answers here, here's a vertical line going through 5 on A. B has that also. C and D do not. So my answer is either A or B. Now, I told you there's two differences in graphing inequalities. The one difference I told you was the solid versus dashed line. The other difference is that you shade the graph. So here's how you shade the graph. If you take the inequality x greater than or equal to 5 and check a point. So what do I mean? We know it's either A or B. So if I check the point 0, 0, and I plug that in, so I plug in 0 for x, it would say 0 is greater than or equal to 5. Is that true or not true? 0 greater than or equal to 5. That's not true. So that means my solutions are not over here. My solutions are on the other side of the line. Remember, we're talking about this line, and we're deciding whether to shade on the right side of it or the left side of it. And the way I determine that is by checking a point. 0, 0 is always a great point to check. It's the easiest normally. Plug that in. 0 doesn't work. It's not true. So that would mean you shade on the right side here. Okay. Now, what we're looking for in the system is we're looking where the shading of the two lines overlaps. All right. So we're still at A or B. Now I go to the y less than -3. So that's going to go through the y-axis. It's horizontal, and it's going to go through -3. So A is good and B is good. So we're still with A and B. Now we just have to decide which side to shade for the y line. Remember the x line said shade on the right. That's this side. Now for the y line, we're trying to decide whether to shade above it or below it. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the point 0, 0 and plug it in. So I plug in 0 for y. Says 0 is less than -3. So is 0 less than -3? No, 0 is greater than -3. So 0 is not a solution. So that means you're going to shade on the other side of the line, which is below it. So the x line is shaded on the right. The y line is shaded below it. So where those two shadings overlap is this little segment right here. And so this would be the solution to the system. So notice the reason B is not is because this section here should not be shaded, because remember y is shaded below, not above. So you can't have it both ways here. It's either going to be on this side of the line or on that side of the line. All right, so hopefully that helped you out. Keep it up. You're doing a great job. You will master the math.